It's November 18th. Do you know where your skis are? Ski areas across the country are getting ready to open. Here in the East, Killington's going to open this weekend. Out in Colorado, the Front Range ski areas are rolling along. Mammoth Lakes is open. Rumor has it there'll be some ski areas open in Lake Tahoe coming this weekend. But there's plenty of ski areas that are pushing back or delaying their opening dates. Taos, New Mexico, along with 4 other New Mexico resorts, are pushed back to December 1st. 5 Alterra resorts across the country have delayed their openings. Some of the resorts are claiming weather that is forcing the delays, but seems odd with the technology these days and making snow to blame the weather. Maybe it's something else. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Egan, and welcome to SkiTalk, powered by Pug Ski. SkiTalk, as you know by now, is all things snow. Our guests range from the legends of the sport to industry experts and skiers and riders from around the world. And we welcome your comments. Drop your questions and comments in the comment section here on Facebook. Send them over to us. We'll have our panels of experts talk to you directly. Tonight, as always, I'm joined by passionate skiers crazier than myself who love to ski and ride. And as always, I'm joined by co-founder of SkiTalk, powered by Pug Ski, Phil and Tricia. How you doing, guys?
Hey, Dan, we're doing really great over here. We finally got a chance to get on snow this past week in Mammoth. And I mean, when you ask a question, how you doing? That's pretty darn good.
Yeah. You guys look like you were having fun and you were doing, of course, ski testing. What were you skiing on?
I started out on the Fisher Ranger GT and switched over to the Blossom Uno Numero 1.
And I got on a new K2 Disruption, the MTI, which is a nice 76 millimeter wide ski, and also played with one of the new Blossom skis that just came out to this country this past year. Blossom, an Italian manufacturer that's very strong in Europe. They just started really pushing into this U.S. market.
Before we introduce the panel tonight, I want to talk about the big news happening with Pugski.com. You guys never seem to have a dull moment. You've now rebranded and relaunched as SkiTalk, powered by Pug Ski. Tell me about that, Tricia.
Well, I was on my trip to Michigan when I was on this talk with you a couple months ago. And on the way back, somebody asked me again, what's Pug Ski? And I thought, there's got to be a better way because everybody wonders what it is. Let's make it more universal so somebody sees the name and knows what it is. And I came home with that thought. Phil and I talked about it and things just fell into place. We picked up the URL and started to talk about it, talked to some people that we work with in the industry, and everybody said, that's a brilliant idea. So we said, let's just make it happen, and let's make it happen on the anniversary of when we launched Pug Ski. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Nice. And how's the chat on the forum, Phil?
Oh, it's been fantastic. The support that we had in the industry was super. When we did our announcement over email and the responses that we got from the Dave Ingemies, from the Tom Kellys of the world saying, this is just a fantastic move for you guys. It's going to bring you to the next level. And I do have to say, Dan, you were actually one of the inspirations in this process when we started working together a number of years ago. And in the evolution of the site and bringing SkiTalk in, bringing the tagline of SkiTalk at a higher level. And this was just a really smooth evolution for us.
It's amazing when you waste enough perfect days skiing what one can create. And we love that at SkiTalk. Pug Ski in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Next on our panel is a leading ski industry editor who's always on the cutting edge of knowing what is going on in the world of winter. It's Lisa Lynn from Vermont Ski and Ride magazine. How you doing, Lisa?
Great, Dan. That's a fantastic intro. I'll take it.
It's so nice to have you and have you part of the show. I know that you're one of the most passionate ski riders I know, and I love reading your stuff because it's always the latest. And I was mentioning, I did an interview with Brian Fairbanks, owner of Jiminy Peak and Cranmore Mountain and Bromley Mountain. And he was telling me that those people up there in Vermont, they're making a moat around the state. And I thought that was an interesting way to say it. There's a lot of restrictions, a lot of things going on with Vermont.
Hey, right now, Vermont has one of the lowest COVID-19 cases in the country. And we've been careful, we've been smart, and the governor is continuing that. And frankly, we're seeing a lot of other states and ski areas starting to follow suit. So we want people to come to Vermont. There's going to be great skiing this winter, but it's really simple. You just simply have to quarantine.
You know, it's one of those things. I've started doing it a few years back, going fewer places and staying longer. So it sounds like that's going to be the motto for Vermont: come and stay.
Well, it's a great excuse. You work remotely, you come up here, you stay for 2 weeks, then maybe go home and take care of business. Work remotely.
Yeah. Take care of business. Ride another lift.
Yeah.
I love that. Tonight, our special guest tonight is a big mountain skier who has stood on top of podiums, some of the biggest peaks in Alaska, and perhaps has one of the coolest jobs in the planet. Tonight, we're joined by Jessica Sobolowski Quinn of Points North Heli Skiing. Jess, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much. That was a great intro as well, Dan.
Well, it's so easy to introduce all my friends. You know, I love it so much. And, you know, you really do have sort of the dream job. How many months a year do you guys spend up there in Alaska?
You know, it went from when Kevin and I didn't have kids, we'd be up there for 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
And then it just got to the point where having a bear be your best friend all the time, whether you're going on a run or a hike, just kind of changed our mindset a little bit. And so now we're up there for, 3 to 4 months every season during our operating Points North season.
And for those who are unfortunate enough not to know about Points North, give us a quick nickel tour of what Point North Heli Skiing is.
You know, we're very fortunate. We've been a family-owned and operated heli ski operation in Cordova, Alaska for the last 2 decades, 22 years. We are one of the most recognized in the world, and thankfully, gratefully, we've been sold out for the last 2 decades. So that's exciting as well. We host people from around the world that come and see us for a week. We house them. It's all inclusive. And we hopefully have them experience the best run of their lives skiing in the Chugach mountain range.
Have you lost count of how many people have told you this was the best day of my life?
We have, but every single time it puts a huge smile on my face. I mean, that's what it's all about. I feel really fortunate. I've skied so much out there and got to experience so many massive lines and powder runs. And so now it's kind of neat when people come and have that experience as well. You can't help but just smile and be really excited for them.
Lisa, one of my big sayings, of course, and I know a lot of people agree, is that skiing is generational. We pass it on. We've learned from the older generation. We get it. We pass it on to others. And, Vermont has a long history of doing that. From almost every ski corner in the state has a beautiful story. I was wondering if that's one of the things that keeps you going with all your writing.
Well, absolutely. And I have to say, my mother actually started skiing at Mad River Glen back in the 50s and then became a ski bum in Chamonix, which is where I, got a real taste for big mountain skiing and loved it. But it's fun because right now in Vermont, I think we have 3 ski areas that are still family owned and are being passed down to the next generation. Smuggler's Notch, still owned by the Stritzlers. The Deloriers have bought back Bolton Valley Resort. And the Cochrans are going strong at Cochrane Ski Area. And that's a lot of fun to see.
It is. Talking with Brian Fairbanks, of course, he's one of the last independent, they're getting fewer independent resort owners. And Bromley is one of those magical places that just continues to pass it on from generation to generation. As you see the bigger corporations move into the state, is it getting harder and harder for the Deloriers and the Cochrans and Bromley to fight the good fight?
There are 2 schools of thought to that. One is, yes, it's harder to be competitive because prices obviously come down with things like the Epic Pass and the Icon Pass. But those areas have also brought in a lot more skiers. And last year, Vermont as a whole really saw a huge influx of skiers and riders. And I think people are starting to realize there are a lot of gems. And especially this year with reservations are required at all the Vail resorts. Reservations are going to be required at Killington, Magic Mountain, Middlebury Snow Bowl. I think you're going to see a lot of people skiing around and seeking out some of those smaller, gems of ski areas, like a Suicide Six or like a Middlebury Snow Bowl or a Magic or a Bromley.
One of the themes tonight is family owned. And of course, as Powder Magazine puts out its last issue, it's a sad day on so many fronts that we're losing one of the iconic ski publications. But at the same time, new sites like SkiTalk, powered by Pug Ski, is growing and moving forward and innovating. And I was wondering, Tricia, if you wanted to just comment on the innovation of SkiTalk and how you're going to survive when others are struggling and going by the wayside.
Head first. It was a big hit in the gut to us when we saw Powder Magazine was going away, but we also saw a little bit of an opportunity, and we've reached out to a lot of people and said, hey, what can we do? How can we build upon our content and make it efficient so that we can cast a broader net? And in the process of doing that, we have gained a lot of traction. And I'm sad to see Powder Magazine go away. But if they're going to be, I want to be that next place for people to go to. If they haven't already found us, they will.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And, I think, Jessica, one of the things that's just been so amazing to see year after year after year at Points North is that just the power of Warren Miller and your relationship with that company, and really that has just been a faucet, I imagine, for your business.
It really has. We're so fortunate to be partnered with Warren Miller. And honestly, they're our buddies at this point. They're just such a good crew there. They have so much soul and passion for what they do. I mean, Kim Schneider's been the editor for the film for as long as I know. And the dedication that he puts into it is just amazing. I think this will be our 17th year, our 17th segment in Warren Miller. And I was told one year that us and Mike Wigley's were the two longest standing relationships with them. And, we just feel so fortunate to have such a great relationship with them. We owe a lot of our success to the Warren Miller films, that's for certain.
And, it's when you're an independent business and you're making it happen, we all rely on these relationships because they're more than just transactional, right? They're sort of lined up when priorities come together to meet the goal. And everybody on the show tonight, we're really selling the aspiration of skiing. I always say the only way my dad would wake up at 5:30 in the morning, put 7 kids in a station wagon is somewhere in the back of his mind. He must have thought he was going to have a good ski day. It's hard to believe, but Lisa, you hit on something earlier. I think we're going to see a return to what skiing is, right? It's going to be social in the parking lot. People are going to be packing their own lunches. And this is a lot how a lot of us grew up. Just we're there to ski. Like, you don't have to make me a burger. I just want to go skiing.
Great
it's
point.
Funny. I just had an interview with the Wall Street Journal, I think yesterday, and they asked me that same question. What is skiing going to be like? And I said, this is a chance for everybody else to do what the locals do. We get up at 7, we get to the mountain by 7:30, we ski until noon, we go home and have lunch, and we go Nordic ski or backcountry ski. So hopefully that's what
you'll giggle, but remember those old school coolers like that open up?
Oh, yes.
I was seriously thinking the other day, because when I went to my little, family owned operated Berkshire East Mountain, it was the same thing. We'd bring the cooler and we'd pack all the food, and that's what we'd bring into the lodge. And so it's funny you say that, Dan, because I was literally just thinking I should get one of those coolers.
Well, we're doing a story in our next issue about the new tailgating, which is cold weather, everything you need to make your car your base lodge.
That's great.
So
I've got my car set up to
this is the magazine, by the way.
Oh, tell us, Mike. Nice. I'm setting my whole hatch up to be my own little base lodge with the bench and plug in boot heater and really gonna auger in this year for that. I can't wait. And on
send us any gear that you recommend, and we'll put it in there.
I will. I will. The heated boot bag is
I
everything.
think
as
we're
they
actually
say.
all onto something right now. There could be an invention that somebody has not thought of for the new tailgate lunch ski resort.
There you go.
But yeah,
Which is
brainstorm
putting
here.
bananas.
Yeah, we just did an article called the Backseat Base Lodge, and that's basically what that hit on, is that a lot, I think really what's going to thrive this year, as we're talking about, is the ski area versus the ski resorts. And a lot of people that are going to be in the parking lots, booting up there. But we had the conversations of what you want to do to make this process most seamless for yourself. And some great opportunities is you're bringing a carpet with you so you can boot up on that. There's some really good, I started searching, is some tents that go on the back of your tailgate. So that gives you a semi-cool, semi-warm place where you can boot up, a nice folding chair. And we talked about a lot as far as the heated boot bags. And when we had Kokia on here a couple of weeks ago, they got one of the premier bags out there is that heated boot bag. Oh, cool. And we've been talking to Thermic, another company that makes some great heated products from the heated boots, but also heated vests and heated gloves. I mean, we've got some great technology out there, and good friends of all of ours is Weems Westfeld. He says there's two types of cold people: poor people and stupid people. And there's no reason now not to be able to be warm with the technology and some of the toys that are out there.
And I really think that what's going to happen is, for a while, I think, ski resorts and some of it was becoming too serious, right? And, and we can't take ourselves or our sport too seriously. After all, it's skiing, right? It's not rocket science. That's why I excel at it. And, one of the things I love about Vermont is Vermont often does not take itself too seriously. And this next video is going to demonstrate that. Introduce it for us, Lisa. What's it called?
So these guys were asking me, what's your favorite classic Vermont video? And I was like, this was easy. The drunk history of skiing in Vermont.
Here you go.
Cheers to being safe.
Safety first.
What happened to your arm?
I broke my artery.
Sorry to hear that.
Best place that you could ever get hurt. Right here in Stowe. When I was in the patrol room, they give you a little brochure. Shows you the history. New Year's Day, 1936. They're sidestepping, they're skinning, they're pulling one another up. This dude, Charles Minot, Mini Dole. I don't care that I'm in the wilderness by myself. We really don't need support. I got it all down. So they zip on down. Mini hooks an edge. What do you think happens there? You hook an edge.
I would imagine you hurt himself.
Ankle snaps in half.
Oof.
He's writhing in pain. My ankle hurts so bad. But they're only halfway down. And he looks at his buddy and says, you need to stay with me. But then looks at his dearest and says, you go get me some tin. And his wife's like, this is ridiculous. So she looks at her buddy and says, let's go take care of this.
Two lovely ski bunnies.
But I think they were kind of hardcore. This is 1930 something. You got leather bound women. These two women bomb down the hill. It's the 30s. Everybody's got tin. There's this overhang. It's got a shit ton of snow on it. But they're like, pow! Knock the snow off. Yeah! Cut it off and pull it down. And off they go up to get the dude. Gauze were different. It was mostly 2x4s, planks, maybe a 4x4. I'm trying to make a splint here.
I thought you were trying to make a sled.
It wasn't a smooth ride, It was and it was all, it was bouncing all over the place. And it was all good though because he was happy to be alive. Wow, that was a fantastic standard of care. This is something that we as Vermonters can bring to everybody. What would have happened? How can people learn from that?
We should do another shot.
How do you like my ankles? So it goes down. This dude was like, and he drew up a bunch of stuff. He's been there, he's seen this, he knows what it looks like when you up and you hook an edge. He knows what that looks like, and he knows how to take you off the hill. And so right there, the National Ski Patrol was born.
Here in the state of Vermont. It's a good story. That's a good story.
That is so classic.
Sorry.
They did a whole series like that. They're pretty great.
Classic Vermont.
Jess, that must make you miss the home roots of Johnson
I
State.
do, especially when Lisa was talking about, I know all those people that own the resorts and they're so quaint. And I think that will always draw people into it, just the quaintness and the feel of it. And I mean, you lose that out in the West. You really do lose that feeling. And it's just something neat that I wish I could bottle up and bring out here from Vermont.
Well, when I know people come heli skiing for a lot of different reasons. Some are lucky enough to go every year. Some save their whole life to go for that 1 week. And I wonder if you find a common thread in a heli skier. What are they really looking for?
And that's a great thing that you said too, Dan, because a lot of people put this stigma on heli skiing and say to me, oh, it's for the super wealthy. And I book guests that have saved $17 a day for a year to make up the trip to come see us. And so there really are all different walks of life. And I think the common thread is, especially at Points North, we treat everybody equal. So we'll have like a brain surgeon and a ski bum and, all different walks of life. And everyone comes together and is treated on an equal platform. And they all have the love for the mountains. And I think that's what really is the tie that I see among our guests. People leave, maybe not knowing anyone, and then they leave with 40 new best friends of a lifetime where they travel around the globe doing fun ski trips from this one trip that they all met each other at. So it's just a really neat way to see everybody just create these relationships that last truly a lifetime.
And is there a barrier to entry? Because, the films are always showing the super gnar, the big air, and, the sloughing snow. People are they nervous, and how do you kind of overcome that even in the sales process to let them say, hey, we're not going to lance you on the first run?
Right. And I mean, this year's movie, The Future Retro, has some pretty intense footage from Points North. I mean, the boys are like teeing off, getting classic AK spines and lines. And that's definitely a fear and a question. And my husband's created an area of the Chugach that he wants to really invite and encourage everyone to come. There's truly something for everybody. We have more stuff than you can ski in a lifetime. My daughter started skiing out there when she was 3 years old and literally went with a group last year. And so we say, as long as you feel comfortable and confident off piste and in the powder, you're going to do great. Now, whether you're an intermediate or you're a world-class athlete, that's to be determined. And thankfully, we have a lot of flexibility within our groups to pair group dynamics and ability accordingly, because your experience and the guest experience is paramount. But, again, as long as you can ski off piste and you can ski in the powder, there really is something for everyone in Alaska.
Now, I coach and mentor a lot of different business people and athletes in the industry. And Phil and Tricia, this is now where you ask for your free heli trip.
I've been trying to get Tricia up for so many years. A few years I've had her a little like more hook, line, and sinker. I think even one year I said, just come up. I'm going to take care of your trip. Just come up. I think you're going to have like the best time of your life.
Right.
You heard it. She invited us. Just come on.
Trisha's a perfect client because she is better than she gives herself credit for. And so
That's
she
right.
just needs the inviting environment. I've had her in my best bud and I, Ingrid Backstrom, used to host ladies camps. And seeing someone like Trish progress in her ability and her confidence is what we look for when we go heli skiing. It's a group and it's a effort. And, the guide's job is to make people feel comfortable and confident and say, holy moly, I can't believe I just skied that, where really they're feeling nice and comfortable on the run. And so we really encourage that as well.
Lisa, there's Bolton's doing a really cool Backcountry Babes piece. Lindsay Delorier there, of course, is the president of the resort. Have you participated in that?
Yeah, I haven't done the Backcountry Babes per se, but I've definitely skied with Lindsay, and she's an amazing skier, as all of the Deloriers are, and you as Egans know that.
Right.
But the Backcountry Babes is great. The whole backcountry program that they have going on there is fantastic. And it's really exciting, I think, to see what's happening with women in skiing. We actually devoted our entire winter issue last year to women in skiing. Nice. And women in the sport, and profiling what was going on in terms of leadership roles, in terms of technology for skis, in terms of what's happening in the industry. Because certainly way back when, I was an editor at Ski, in the 1990s, and it was a very different place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. And of course, Trish, the equipment is amazing right now. Women's product is off the hooks.
That's where I come from. It's really fascinating because I'm that nerd. I absorb all the new technology and everything that's going on with the ski gear, and women's ski products that are being sold right now are not white, pink, fluffy, whatever. They're made, they're not made softer and gentler. They're made for women who want to just really go out and ski, and have always said, oh, I'd never look at women's skis. But there are really some amazing products out there right now, and they're not made with bunny fur, but they're made with unicorn dust to make you ski better. But it's really progressive. The women's ski technology has been really progressive. The backcountry boots, the things that were more dominant on the male side of the wall are now just as strong on the women's side of the wall. So the women who are having to go find a men's backcountry boot or more aggressive boot and get into a man's boot now can find a woman's boot that will hold up, and it supports a woman's foot shape and calf.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So, well, I'm a big fan of heli skiing, and we've got a video to show up next. It's a Points North Heli Skiing.
I'm Jessica Quinn.
I'm Kevin Quinn.
This is Points North Heli Adventures in Cordova, Alaska.
Welcome to Points North. Points North was created to basically provide guests with an ultimate Alaskan experience. We have so many things to do here. We've got a beautiful facility, 3 magic carpets to ride in, town's 2.5 miles away. Not to mention we're sitting here right directly on the ocean, and fly zone's about 6 minutes out. We're pretty grateful for what we have here.
It's a pretty special thing. People come here from all parts of the world, all different ages, and they leave having a ton of new friends that they keep in touch with. It's like adult fun camps.
Oh yeah! What is special about here at P&H is we have 1,500 square miles of terrain that I say confidently there's something for everyone. We've got the high-end terrain with the low-end terrain and everything in the middle. This is Disneyland on steroids.
Safety is definitely our #1 priority, but when weather and snow permits, it's pretty rad the places that we put people. Alaska is a pretty special place. Wherever you go, you're going to have a great time, but we do hope you come see us at Points North and experience what we have here in Cordova. See you next season.
And if you don't come next season, you'll be only 1 year older when you do. Doesn't Warren say that?
Yes.
That's it looks so good, Jess.
It is. It really is. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's just this magical place, and you're in the middle of nowhere with, what hopefully is the best snow of your life. It's just a really special feeling.
When's the next opening?
Right. Well, that's a very interesting question, actually, with what's going on in bookings and everything.
What's fill
It's
us in?
completely
What's the
bananas.
status?
I've never seen anything like this in 22 years that I've run the office. We are completely sold out with a huge wait list, and we're trying everything we can to encourage people to wait till 2022. We're going over the protocols and the procedures for Alaska and what we're going to be following. And thankfully, we've encouraged a lot of our international guests to postpone just because we don't know what's going to happen with travel restrictions. But it's such a roller coaster right now. It's the wildest frenzy I've ever witnessed. And I pray that we have a successful and safe season. I know on our end we can, but what we can't control is, government shutdowns or if people can't get to us. So I'm really hoping that we have something happens, something changes here soon with COVID, whether it's a vaccination or I don't know what, something.
A lot of questions out there. Of course, we're getting to that time of the show where we go open it up for a roundtable discussion. Trish, we're going to kick it off with you. You can ask any one of our guests any question you want.
Well, this one is pretty easy for me because I've had some really amazing chairlift conversations with Jessica.
Oh, no.
She really knows where I'm going. For starters, I want to say thank you, Jessica, for giving me the gusto and some courage to get me over some humps in my skiing plateaus. I remember one time we went up the headwall chair and we went and we skied this chute, and she gave us instructions to ski off the spine instead of skiing in the chute. And I made one turn and then went, oh crap, and I went into the chute and she scolded me a little bit.
C2. That's where you were in C2.
Yeah. She remembers.
I remember.
So we go to she looks at me and she goes, you're riding a chair with me. So we go to the chair. And as we had the vantage point of seeing it, she said, you can do this. You are going to do this. Ski the spine and then send that little bit of air off the end. And I went, but I can't do air. Dan's had me in clinics too, so he knows.
Well, she crushed it. I made her go do it. She stopped it.
I did it. But the conversation I remember on that chair besides that one was I asked you if you'd ever been caught in an avalanche in a ski movie, and you said yes. And you said it was probably one of the last really big lines that you'd skied in a ski movie because your daughter was fairly young, or you had just had your daughter. Mm-hmm. And you just barely escaped this avalanche, or it chased you, and your husband was filming, and you were glad you survived it and everything was fine. And later when you were watching the raw footage and you heard your husband going, oh yeah. Do you remember that?
I do. Yep.
Tell us about that pivotal moment.
Well, so the crazy thing about Alaska is it's not necessarily avalanches, it's slough, and it's massive. It's what makes it so magical. Snow comes and sticks to places that you can only imagine, just steep faces, and it sloughs itself out. And so when you're skiing a really steep line, you have to always think about where your slough is. This line in particular, I was with my good buddy, Jamie Burge, and we were, on our Barbies all set up. And I knew that the slough was going to come from a certain way. And so that was what I was thinking the entire time I was going, and I was having one of the best runs of my life. And all of a sudden, slough came from the other side, unexpected. It was a little point release, and, it was just something that I couldn't have prepared for. And before I know it, I'm ragdolling down a 2,000 vertical steep pitch with, it was filming. And so I was overexposure. There was a little cliff underneath, and it was horrifying. It was probably the craziest fall I've ever taken. Meanwhile, my husband, Kevin, who's also our guide, is standing with the photographer and the filmer who are, watching. And Kevin is watching through the camera, but he's holding down the trigger the whole time. And so it's one thing to watch to make sure I'm okay and I'm safe, but he took photos of the entire sequence of me falling down the slope. And I just remember being really upset about it, thinking like, weren't you concerned I was going to die? You were taking photos. And he just said, well, it was a good way for me just to see where you were the whole time, just in case.
We have a baby at home.
Yes, God bless him. I know he loves me more than anything, but that was definitely a pivotal moment. And thankfully, the photographer, Court Levy and Tom Day, were not taking footage of this. But
Okay.
I think it did appear in a free skier, like worst crashes of the year. The whole sequence was in there.
Wild.
It was wild.
Lisa, do you have any questions for anybody?
Yeah, I want to know when we're going to see the next Egan brother footage.
Oh, the next after. Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
We'll have to work on that for sure. Now that maybe John has a little more free time on his hands, we can get him out of the East Coast and out there to Big Sky. And
oh no! You're coming to Vermont.
And does everybody know that you're in the current movie with your brother? Have you announced that?
Oh, it's out there. Future Retro. They dusted off the old dogs for the Big Sky sequence. And what I say is I was the youngest. I'm the youngest of the four. So I was skiing with all my heroes to watch Scott Schmidt and Tom Day, and of course, brother John. It's a treat for me to watch those guys ski. And boy, it's so fun. It never gets old, and even the jokes that we've been telling for the last 30, 40 years still ring true. So it was a lot of fun. And I think the West Coast premiere is happening. Is it this weekend? I think
so. Everyone's got to check it out. It's a really great movie this year. And it just is just with everything going on in the world, it's just a great feeling. And you get to see Dan on the big screen shredding.
There you go. Phil?
Yeah. I guess I'm going with my question for Trish here. Want to ski this weekend if we're open?
Yes. Duh. Yeah, I do.
So, now seriously, as far Lynn, you've got your own magazine there, and you're doing print and also online. Again, we've had conversations over the course of time. Is where's print going in the industry? Is it going to stay around? Is it going to be sustainable? Are we going to go fully digital like we are? What's your vision?
I think it's tough to be any one thing right now. I think it's tough to make money just in digital. We were really lucky, and we had our best year ever in 2019, 2020. The magazine seems to have really taken off as a brand. It's glossy. It's, more of a lifestyle publication. We do dream homes. We do profiles. We do stories about skiers. But I think like what you're doing, Phil and Trish, it's really targeted, and it's really trying to serve a very, very tight niche audience. Granted, we're lucky that there are 80 million skier or people who live within a 5-hour drive of Vermont. And it's sort of the playground for the Northeast. So we have a great captive audience. But we also, in addition to the print magazine, we do vtskiandride.com. We do newsletters. We haven't gotten nearly where you guys are in terms of video. We don't have a Dan Egan talking. So
you can have
them. You should join
when you guys go to a hotel at a ski resort, am I the only nerd that looks through every single magazine that they've left on there? Whether it's a Vermont Ski and Ride or whatnot, I look at it cover to cover.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I mean, I still get my subscriptions to my sailing magazines and my ski magazines, and of course, give a plug for Skiing History. That magazine's awesome.
absolutely.
Comes
I
out.
still get that.
Seth
Yeah.
does a good job with that.
Yeah, amazing.
And-
Jess,
and-
got any questions for anybody?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I don't know. I think everything that you guys are all doing is fantastic. And I'm just so appreciative for Tricia and Phil for creating an online forum that's really made waves, I feel like, in our community and in our industry. Just a way to have some raw and organic data for people, because it's one thing to go to a ski resort and look at a magazine, and it's another thing when you're really looking to get true information on product and gear out there, to have a forum that you can go and have like-minded conversations. And, you know, kudos to you guys for just really pushing through that and continuing to raise the bar. So I'm
Thank
just
you.
honored to be part of it.
Thank you.
And we've got every week we have a movie segment that we feature, and this week it's no different. We have one that features Jessica. So let's see that next.
When you ski at Heavenly, you can make fresh tracks in California or in Nevada. And no matter where you go, there you are.
Want you to be mine. I just want you to be your own. When I feel you around me, I feel.
I don't want you to be mine, no, no. I just want you to be your own. When I feel you around me, I feel at home. If dreams are for mine,
Jessica makes men want to become skiers because where she leads, they want to follow.
the misconceptions of love, I find you right here under my nose.
Hey, Warren Miller, that was so nice of him.
So Dan, did you follow Jessica?
I don't know. Yeah, if I can keep up.
I'll be
just give
following
it a shot.
Dan. Okay, let's just get the right here.
Well, that was Mott's Canyon, huh?
That was kind of a special photo shoot, or that was a Warren Miller segment, and I'm sure everyone knows who Lindsay Dyer is.
Yeah.
So the other girl in it was her, and it was her first time ever filming for Warren Miller, and so it was really neat to see her nervousness turn to excitement, turn to just having the best time of her life. And then we also did it with Glenn Plake was in it, and so it was Mott's Canyon. It was right when they had opened all that new section. And I kept finding all these errors with super flat landings, and I didn't know yet about flat landings. So everything I went off of, thank gosh I, didn't have my 2 knee surgeries by then. But yeah, it was a good learning experience and a really, really neat photo shoot just to be with the likes of Glenn and Lindsay and Tom Day. And it was just a great crew.
It's amazing to see what Lindsay's done with her career and motivating so many people.
Right.
She really has done a great job. Well, I want to thank all of you for joining us here at SkiTalk, and for everybody out there watching. You've wasted another perfect Wednesday night right here at SkiTalk. We're grateful for that. And, make sure you drop your comments in. Check out the new SkiTalk site powered by Pug Ski. Lisa, hope to catch up with you this winter. I'll give you a ring when I come over, and maybe we can catch up at Bolton. Jessica, I'm overdue. I'd love to come up and see you guys sometime. And Trish and Phil, we'll see you soon. And thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Good to see you guys.
Ciao, ciao.